So good morning, all of you. So I have a white paper in front of you, right? So please note down two questions. The first one is a very old question, but a relevant one. What is happiness according to you? Okay. What is happiness according to you? Yes, please. So what is happiness according to you? That is question number one. On the top of the paper, write your real name. Okay. And today's date. What is happiness according to you? Okay. So on the back of the paper, the next side, take the second question. Or you just flip the sheet. Yeah. So second question is, what is your understanding? What is your understanding? What is your understanding of the term freebie? What is your understanding of the term freebie? F-R-E-E-B-I-E. Discuss the debate around it. Discuss the debate around it. So I will give you 15 minutes. Whatever you want to write, you can write. So this is where you stand today, as of today, that is 22nd September 2022, in your understanding part. Okay. The first question is, what is happiness according to you? That has nothing to do with UPSC. That has everything to do with yourself. Okay. The second question, those who have attended the previous classes and yesterday class should be able to at least put something. So if you are totally new, if you don't know anything, you can let it go. Because don't आपके मर्जी. So those who are online are also encouraged to do the same. So, what is the most important thing that you have understood while writing the answers? What is your takeaway? Like, we'll start with what was the biggest struggle or good thing you noticed?
What is the correct way of expressing what we have in our mind?
Okay. Okay.
I should organize my thoughts in the right way, like structure, and should include more points. I stopped at a point that this is enough, something like that. I should get rid of that attitude.
So I'm struggling to write what is in my mind.
You are unable to articulate.
Yes, and also
Same. Articulation is the problem. You? Okay. So you wrote what you know, not what is asked. Okay. So that happens with everyone. So even those who are writing mains also will do the same thing. So see, the problem is we have, most aspirants think answer writing is the end. Answer writing is just a byproduct. Answer writing is just how you think, right? How you think is how you write. So if you are good in static questions, that means if it is about freebie, direct questions, okay, you are able to dump all the data, means you have knowledge, you will throw the data. But when it comes to creative questions like what is happiness, okay, you have to create content from your existing knowledge, right? See, the simplest way to answer all these questions is happiness can be a lot of things, right? From eating ice cream all the way till spending time with loved ones. Happiness can be anything. You didn't have the courage to write whatever you felt like. Okay, you could have dumped everything. Who is going to judge you? The question is saying, what is happiness? according to you. So if you say, in the summer, I would like to stand in the sun. That makes me happy. Who am I to judge you? It's okay. It's your happiness, right? So no two people can have the same happiness, right? But if it's a freebie question, then yes, I can definitely measure you or judge you from what you have written. So whenever it is a creative question, take all the liberty in the world. Okay. And second thing, you are preparing for civil services, right? So the answer should be like, both individual and outside. I'm not only self-centered. My happiness comes from serving others. So that is probably why you picked up civil services. You want to serve the nation, that makes you happy. Or your assumption that serving the nation will make you happy in the long run is also happiness. So either it is about individual, the society, or your family members, or for the greater good of humanity. Any of these things can be happiness. Feeding a dog on the road is happiness. I mean, for some, not for everyone, right? So some people see it as a menace, some people see it as a compassionate thing to do. Okay, so everybody have their own perspective. So you have to bring those perspectives onto the paper, and the biggest difficulty you are facing bringing onto the paper is because your own limitations. You are thinking, I have to write in a perfect way. There is no such thing as perfect way. And most important thing you need to understand is, only when you start writing or only when you start articulating, you will be forced to retest your theories. Or else in our mind, till before that bubble was burst, everybody was very good in freebies. Sir took a class for half an hour. I heard a lot of things about freebies. I know everything about freebies. Okay. There is judiciary, there is government, there is political view, there is finance view. There are so many views. I know all the views. When Sir is saying yes, it was very easy. But when it was supposed to bring onto the paper, you realize the difficulty. So the problem will go away only when you polish your thinking, and thinking can be developed only through writing. So there is a link, right? Good readers make good writers. Good writers or regular writers will become better writers by articulation. Okay, understand this logic. Only when you read more, you'll write good. All great writers in the world today, either in fiction, non-fiction, are very good readers. Only good readers can make good writers. Why? You have to make connections in the brain. Then the more you write, you will become a better writer. Okay, that process is called as faucet thinking. Okay, what is faucet thinking? Faucet means, like the tap. Okay, all of you have the basic idea of geyser, right? The geysers. What do geysers do? Geyser warm the water, and you'll receive the hot water. But when you turn on the hot tap, unless it's an instant geyser, what happens? The first few mugs will always be cold water. Only then the hot water will flow out. So right now you are in the cold water stage. That means your thinking is blocked by your education. Yes or no? Your education has spoiled you or helped you. Okay, whatever it is, you're right now, you're going through that phase called as cold water phase. That means once you remove all that cold water, automatically there will only be better writing. I hope you got the logic, right? The analogy. Till now, you are not forced to write what is happiness. Throughout your life, you are asked, what is happiness? You know happiness. Just like the way you know what is honesty. All of you know honesty, right? So if I ask you to write what is honesty again it becomes very, very difficult. Okay. And last thing you have to remember is, you cannot explain theories through theory. If I ask you what is honest, what is honesty, what is happiness, you have to show examples. Only examples will bring you and me onto the same page. If I say honesty, all of us are on the same place, right? Yes. So simple example. If you find 10,000 rupees on the road, will you give to police station or will you keep it with yourself? Police station, right? Yes. Answer is police station. No. Reality? Sure. 1 lakh rupees. Police station. 10 lakhs.
Police station.
1 crore.
More the money, it makes the choice more easy, no, sir.
More the money, it makes easier for me the other way. Okay, if it's 10,000, I will give in the police station. If it's 1 crore, probably I will start thinking, right? Okay. Yes, again, it is subjective. I'm not saying yes. The more the money, the more easier for you to go to police station. At 10,000, I can keep it. Okay, 1 crore, he must be very. It's a serious damage. I want to go to police station. Okay, but again, this is purely theory, right? Only when you find 1 crore rupee on the road, okay, that is the day it will be decided whether you are honest or not. Till then, it's only theory.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Instead of gold, instead of money, if I say gold chain, you are standing in the bus and near your feet there is a gold chain or a golden bracelet. What will you do? It has fallen onto your shoes. Nobody noticed it. What will you do? police station. Okay, that is again, I don't know why. We never faced that, right? We never faced that scenario. When we face that scenario, we will do. Okay, the most easiest scenario that all of you must have faced is in a hotel or in some shop where you have given 50 rupees or 100 rupees. The cashier gave you back extra amount. Like he assumed you have given more money and he has given you extra change. Probably you gave that change back. That is something that we can relate to. Okay, but finding 1 crore rupee on a road is not something that you find every other day, right? So honesty, happiness, and all these things are theories. Theories cannot be explained through writing one more theory. You have to write it in examples. So the stronger, the better your examples, the more your understanding. Okay. So yesterday I told you to read the T.T. Ramohan's article, right? So if you have even brought his own arguments onto the paper, your answer should have been much better. Yes. He talks about everything, right? He talks about the good, bad, and the ugly are all the parts. So most of your answers are not structured. That means your thinking is not in structure. First of all, what is freebie? Why the debate is happening? What are the problems with giving freebies? Why should we give freebies? Okay, or how can we reduce the impact of freebies? Okay, and not a single person I think has written answer or a point about making more money, collecting more taxes. Okay, see, I can give freebies as long as I make more money, right? That point has to be dragged. Again, I am not saying that you should be perfect from day one. What I'm trying to tell you is your thinking becomes easy once you start developing. Your end goal is what? To write an answer. Whatever you learn for writing an answer, either in prelims or mains. Don't overlearn. Don't do the other side also. Healthy balance. I know freebie topic, intro, body, conclusion. My work is done. Okay. So having said that, we'll enter into today's newspaper. Someone is in waiting room. So I assume that most of you haven't read today's newspaper. Have read? Seen? Read the entire newspaper. Very nice. What about the rest of you? Have seen the newspaper? Reading. Start. Okay. Right. So anything useful for UPSC perspective? First of all, syllabus copy. How many of you are carrying syllabus copy? Okay. Tomorrow? Bag on that? Fine. So I encourage you to carry syllabus copy as well. Right? You need to mug it up. No, Umang? Yes. Have you mugged up the syllabus copy? Not. Yes. So let's see what are the connections that we can make from this GST revenue crossed 1.4 lakh mark again. Is this article important? GST revenues crossed 1.4 crore margin. Is this article important? If so, which paper? GS paper 2 or GS paper 3? 3 economic development, not 2. See, that is what I just try to convey to you. If you think the articles in the format of questions, your thinking will improve, right? Now imagine the question called as, what is fiscal federalism? What is fiscal federalism? FISCAL, fiscal federalism. All of you know federalism, right? Federalism means union government, state government, local self-government. We have 3 types of government. That is called as federalism. When federalism is related to money, it is called as fiscal federalism. Whenever there is a discussion about money between the states and center or states and local self-government, the term is called as fiscal federalism. Federalism is a topic in GS paper 2, not GS paper 3. Okay, so that is something that you have to remember, fiscal federalism. Now, sorry. Second thing, again I am asking you to think in questions because you will know where to fit this data. If you are writing an intro, body, or a conclusion, you will use this exact data in some part, right, or in way forward. Now, Having said about what is fiscal federalism, next is what is cooperative federalism. Cooperative federalism. See, federalism I told you, right? Three things. Now cooperation means between state and center, states and states, local self-government and states. It can be horizontal, it can be vertical, it can be horizontal. So cooperative federalism is both horizontal and vertical. Horizontal and vertical. Okay. So how is GST an example of cooperative federalism? So you don't know economy, it's totally fine if you don't know. Just understand the logic. Then when you see this article, there are 3 or 4 questions that you are supposed to know in the long run also. One is what is fiscal federalism? How does GST play an important role? Next, what is cooperative federalism? How does GST is a shining, how is GST a shining example for the same? Next is what are indirect taxes? What are indirect taxes? Okay. Next, next logical question is what is direct tax? Okay. So most of you must have heard about income tax, right? Your father or relative brother, probably you while you are doing a job have paid income tax. So all of you know income tax. Income tax is a direct tax. That means you are making money, you are paying the tax. Indirect tax means you are buying something and you are paying GST. You went to a restaurant, GST has been applied, or you purchased an iPhone from Amazon, GST has been applied. So you indirectly paid the tax. Okay. For understanding sake, there is like we are 140 crore population, right? Indians are 140 crore population. Okay. How many Indians pay income tax for idea sake? Rough idea.
10 crores.
In percentage population. 10 crores means you are saying 14 crore population are paying income tax.
Out of 40,
That must be the logical thing. Yes. No, fine. Guess, see, what do you have to lose? You have to throw a number, right? 50% or 20%. It won't charge you anything. 5 to 10%. 5 to 10, 5%. 10. No, same. 15%. Routine given them. Okay, yes, you. 30. Okay, fine. 2 to 3%. We are talking about 140 crore population. How can only 2 to 3% of the population feed them? 30 to 40% Indians are paying income taxes. 20%. Yes. The answer is 5% Indians file income tax. Okay. 5 to 6% Indians file income tax. I will tell you the loophole there. Filing income tax means I am filing income tax saying I don't have to pay tax. 5 to 6% of Indians file income tax saying I receive income around like let's say 5 lakh or 5,20,000, but I have deductions, so I don't have to pay you a single rupee. So using all the loopholes, I will say to the government, I am making 6 lakh rupees per annum. I am filing income tax, but I don't owe a single rupee to the government. That is filing. Actual payers are 2 to 3%. Okay, only 2 to 3% of Indians pay taxes. Okay, the rest all is indirect tax. Okay, and direct tax directly goes to central government. State governments do not have anything to do with direct tax. In the same way, in 2016, what happened is all the indirect taxes more or less have been also given to central government. So GST is where states revenue is taken by the center, then center gives back to the states. So that is where states and center are cooperating. That is why it is called as cooperative federalism. Okay, the biggest problem with this is states do not have money to run their own administration. They are totally dependent on central government. That is the problem between states and center. So you have to understand India for what it is. We live in assumption, right? We live in a perception thinking so many, but in reality that is not the case. Okay, most money actually comes from indirect tax and corporate taxes rather than income tax. We need to bring more people into income tax fold, and the biggest exemption is agriculture. Agriculture income is exempted from income tax. So if you have 100 acres, if you are making good amount of money on agriculture, that is removed from income tax. So 40 to 45% of the Indian population lives on agriculture. So they are not paying taxes, right? So this is the linkage. Now, having said that, just think about it. If India has to grow, like India, if India has to grow, who has to grow? Is there a land called as Indian land? In Hyderabad, the DRDO is there. DRDO is a central institution. It still is in Hyderabad, right? Okay. That means India is a block of states and union territories. Only when states and union territories grow, collectively India will grow, right? And one more problem is redistribution of income. That means if Tamil Nadu is giving 10 rupees to central government, Tamil Nadu is not getting back 10 rupees. It will get 2 rupees or something. The 10 rupees is redistributed to Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, or Andhra Pradesh or Telangana. Why? There is a lot of poverty. That means if some states are doing well, like Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, they are making a lot of money, but that money is going to places which is where development is not happening. That is what brothers do, right? If all the states in India are considered as brothers, if one brother is doing well, he will help the other one, unfortunate one. So that is how redistribution happens. Okay. If everybody grows, then India will grow. But right now, what is happening? Very few states in India are making money. Others are dependent on them. Okay, that is a problem. I hope you understand. And it is not by default. That means they want to grow, but there is no capability. Example is in Bihar. Okay, there is a concept called as multi-dimensional poverty index. Okay, poverty means not just money, right? Poverty can be food, living standards, lot of things. That is called as multi-dimensional poverty. Okay, now from your educated mind, from your own perceptions again, what percentage of Bihar population do you think are poor in 2022? More than 50%. According to Niti Aayog report, 52% of Bihar population is multidimensionally poor. That means they don't have food to eat 3 times a day. Okay, with 50% of the state not even having food to eat, do you think that state will perform very well in industrialization, development, skilling, and all those things? They are struggling to make a living. So money that is going to Bihar is for welfare. Yes or no? Bihar needs to come out. Bihar needs to work like other states, but Bihar need a lot of support. Okay, so these are the two questions that you can understand. What is cooperative federalism? Why it is there? What is fiscal federalism? What are the issues? Both are mains questions. Both are 15 markers for mains. Okay, in the long run, you will appreciate them and you will know answers to write for them. Now, the good thing is, if money is there with the center, automatically money will flow to the states. During COVID time, what happened? Money at the center squeezed, dried down. That means central is not connecting more money, because central is not collecting more money, it is not giving money to states. So automatically states and center were fighting with each other. Now more money is flowing, automatically money will flow down. Everybody will be happy. That is in theory. Okay. So you can see the chart, right? In August, it was less than 1.2 crores. Then slowly we started making more money. Okay, so this is also progress or a sign of how India is progressing. Next, now the real kick in the entire discussion is there are two Indias. Not going by Rahul Gandhi's statement, there are two kinds of Indias. One is India, the other one is Bharat. Okay, generally speaking, people differentiate it like this. That means urban India or modern India is considered as India, whereas the rural India is considered as Bharat. Okay, if India is growing, that means manufacturing is growing. Hyderabad, everybody is going back to restaurants. Everything is fine in cities. Why? We are service oriented, right? Most people are dependent on service sector. We are making money, but the rural India is not growing. Right? 80% of population in India lives in rural areas, are dependent on rural areas. Even if I make money in Hyderabad, I have to send money to my family in some village or rural area. So if rural area is not growing, but if urban area is growing, we cannot call it as a holistic growth. Yes, that is also a problem. Remember, very important differentiation. Rural India is equally important as urban India. Right now, whatever we are seeing is growing in urban settings. So what about this article? What is importance of this article? IMF to extend 2.9 billion loan to Sri Lanka. Which paper? Hindu paper. No. GS2. International organization and international relations. Not ethics. How?
You are being more kind to Sri Lanka.
UN being UN. IMF is UN agency.
No, sir.
International Monetary Fund. International Monetary Fund. Okay. Have you read NCRTs? No. Okay. What are Bretton Woods twins? Have you heard about the term? Bretton Woods twins. BRETTON. Bretton Woods twins. What are Bretton Woods twins? That is a question that you have to remember. They are World Bank and IMF. Okay, World Bank and International Monetary Fund together are called as Bretton Woods twins. So now we will look at this article from GS paper 2 point of view, as you have suggested, international relations. Okay, our neighbor, that is Sri Lanka, is going through a lot of trouble. IMF is doing, that is a good thing. Okay, but there is also a moral issue here. Normally what happens is all these international institutions will give money with certain conditionalities, terms and conditions. That is also called as neo-colonialism. All of you know colonialism, right? The Britishers ruling or dominating colonies. Okay, colonialism. So neo-colonialism is where I'm giving you money and I'm setting you conditions that you have to behave in certain fashion. For example, 1991 Indian LPG reforms, liberalization, privatization, globalization. When money has been given to India, okay, certain conditions were given. Okay, those conditions is good governance, e-governance, right? So IMF money do not come easily. It has certain obligations. Okay, obligations for welfare is good, but obligations to suffocate is bad. So just remember prelims questions: Bretton Woods twins, IMF, World Bank. What is the official name of World Bank? All of you know World Bank from childhood, right? Chandrababu Naidu made sure all the Telugu states have heard the term World Bank multiple times. Yes, what is the official name of World Bank? Ever heard? Vinnara? Chadi marchipera? Vinnleda? World Bank is the official name, right? No? You heard about it, that in Brexit House, World Bank. Okay, nice. IBRD, right? International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. IBRD. Okay, IBRD and IMF are the Bretton Woods twins. IBRD is nothing but World Bank, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. See, reading NCRTs have its own advantages. Don't worry if you don't know any of these things. It's not a test of time. It's not. It's not a test of your knowledge. It's a, you are here to learn, right? Okay, but you need to learn them very quickly. You need to start noticing there is a read between lines. What is there in the newspaper is, if it's a challenge, what is not there in the newspaper is a bigger hurdle. Okay. Not stopping at trivial articles. So as I said, this part is called as editorial, this part is opinion, right? Opinions can be subjective, opinions change, but opinions will have some empirical data. Empirical is the term that you live and die by UPSC preparation. That means whatever you write, it has to have some substantiation. If I say Prime Minister Modi is great, substantiate. If I say Prime Minister Modi is not great, I need to substantiate. Opinions are useless. Your opinions are as useless as tissue papers if you write them in a generic fashion. Always substantiate. Whatever you argue, it has to be justified. Okay. Facts, data, reports, company names. These things should be in your fingertips. Now, what do editorials teach us? Editorials teach us keywords, data, how to see 360-degree perspectives of every issue. Okay. As an Indian, you should be happy that Indian economy is growing. Okay. But as a leader, you should also be worried, or you should also be cautious, not worried. You should be cautious about what are the issues that will hamper my growth. Okay, there is a very good philosophy in Upanishads. It's called as, this too shall pass. Yes, in Upanishads, there is a wonderful line which says, this too shall pass. That means no bad thing will last forever. No good thing also will last forever. Okay, it humbles you. When something bad is happening to you in your life, you can say this too shall pass. That means it will motivate you. Yes or no? It will motivate you saying, yeah, bad times will also go away. But when you're in good times, do you think, this too shall pass? When in good times, you get arrogant, you get blinded, you get, irrational. You think a world is yours, world belongs to you, you can dominate the world, everything is going my way. But in good times also, if you can remember the philosophy of this too shall pass, what happens? It will humble you. It will humble you and keep you on the right path. Okay, this too might probably pass. Okay, I have reached a good stage in economy. If I do something good, I might become better. Okay, but if I don't do anything, I might fall. Okay, that is one thing. Next, before understanding this article, you need to understand the two terms. One is V-shaped recovery, the other one is K-shaped recovery. Have you ever heard about these terms, V and K? No. What is V-shaped recovery? Again, you haven't even read NCERT, so you don't know any stuff I'm speaking. But common sense wise, you can understand, right? Okay, V. What is the shape V looks like? It's like this, right? Something has fallen, something has risen very quickly. Bounce back has happened very quickly. Yes or no? That means you are going in a straight line. Everything was working well for you. Then suddenly you have fallen. Then you bounced back quickly and you are moving again. So if this is the road, okay, some debacle happened, you recovered from the debacle very quickly and again you are moving in the right path. So that recovery is V-shaped recovery. What is a little bit late recovery? A U-shaped recovery, right? That means you have fallen, you have spent a very long time in the lowness, then you have recovered and you moved on. So this is the difference between a V-shaped recovery and a U-shaped recovery. So V and U's. Okay. Here, when we talk about V-shaped recovery and K-shaped recovery, we are talking about economy. Let's imagine Indian economy was growing smoothly, around 4.6%. Okay. Then, because of COVID lockdowns, we grew to minus 24%. That means we have fallen very bad. Then again, having taken steps, opening up the lockdown and all those things, again, Indian economy is reaching the stage of 4.6% of the GDP. So that means we have recovered in a V shape. Now, there is one more topic I told you, K-shaped recovery. So during COVID pandemic, all of you have observed a phenomena, right? Zoom classes. Yes, Zoom classes. Children who are able to afford iPads or tablets or laptops or mobile phones, their education continued. Yes or no? Or at least their education was there. Something is better than nothing. Or you joined a course, skill development, hobby, you learn new skills in life. Okay. While people who do not have access to internet, smartphones, tablets, or people, their own family members are not educated, for 2 years they haven't learned anything. Forget about learning, they forgot what they have learned. Yes or no? So here we can see a K, right? If you take that particular point as a benchmark, what happened? The recovery is in two ways. That is, people who made money. If I'm service sector, during COVID lockdown also, okay, I made my own money. I had in fact changed my jobs, got better offers, salaries improved. People had a lot of money. They invested in stock markets. During COVID pandemic, in the first wave, second wave, stock market was in all-time highs. Why was stock market in all-time high? People sat in home, made a lot of money. They don't have to spend in the rent and all those things. They pumped all that money into stock markets. Okay, so service sector people made good amount of money during lockdown, whereas people who have to go out into the work, okay, their livelihood were severely affected, especially the rural side. Your own domestic maid, probably your dhobi wala. You must have seen their lives, right? They literally went into the debt. Okay, so that recovery is K. Okay, some companies made more money. Some companies had gone into losses. This kind of weird recovery is called as K-shaped recovery. I hope you'll remember this. Yes. Can you think of any examples for K-shaped recovery from your own life? Any company that made profits that you know of? Delivery companies made profit? Huge. By education companies. So most MSMEs went into losses as most tech companies went into profits. Okay. No other company probably made more profit than Zoom. Yes or no? Zoom app, the app we are using right now had more profits. Okay. And almost all tech companies, Apple, Google, Facebook, they made billions of dollars during COVID pandemic. Now, what about India? Obviously, same logic applies, right? So tech or service sectors made more money, whereas industry sectors lost money. Okay, that is exactly what is discussed in this particular article as well. Okay. Who are the major employment providers? The major employment providers in the country are agriculture, manufacturing, construction. During COVID lockdown, when lockdown is there, how can I go into the field? How can I start manufacturing, or how can I do construction? Yes or no? So the country is still recovering from the COVID impact. Do you think that COVID impact will be there for next few years also, or it will go away? Not health wise, economy wise. Economy wise, there will be.
Yes, we have lost a lot of human capital. Like many of children had no education for last 2 years, and it will affect economy.
It happened all over the world, right?
Indian economy.
Indian economy. Okay. So apart from that, so you read this article, right? What is your understanding? What did you understand? They gave some data, nice. And what are they arguing with the data? No, it's not at all your fault, right? I 100% agree. Even I, for senior aspirants also, this article is difficult to comprehend because they have used too much technical jargon, lot of data, lot of numbers. So it's not easy to understand, but I'm forcing you to think in a simple way, because when you understand something simply, that means you will remember it for a long amount of time. Okay, what this particular article is simply trying to say is, on the one hand side, industry sector is doing well, economy is coming back to post-COVID times. I mean, COVID times. Before COVID, how was the world? We are trying to come there, and most of the times we are seeing that, right? Even if you go to restaurants now in Hyderabad or anywhere, you will see people are just like normal. Almost everything is back to normal. People forgot there was something called as COVID, right? But in rural India, it is still not the case. In rural India, still people are in lot of debt. They are not willing to spend. Why? They are still not recovering from the debt. They are forced to go in the COVID times. So it will take some more years for the Indian economy to grow. Next part you have to understand is, Indian economy is interlinked with the world. Okay, that means if world GDP is growing like this, okay, in a positive direction, what will happen to Indian GDP? Indian GDP will also grow. According to economic survey, if world GDP grows by 1%, Indian GDP will grow by 0.4%. That is the connection between Indian GDP and world GDP. So if the world is doing well, India will also do well. If the world is doing bad, India will do bad. No matter how strong you are internally, you have produced goods. But if the world is not purchasing, what will you do? Right? So in the last point, he says, there is a lot of issues like agriculture issues, rural side issues, and global issues like Ukraine-Russia war. Tomorrow, China and USA might go to war over Taiwan. So all these things will affect India also. So we have to keep an eye on the future. At the same time, believe that we are doing the right things. Okay. And the most important thing you need to remember is all these are called as legacy issues. All these issues are called as what? Legacy means historic. Legacy means a long term, like somebody's legacy, right? Like legacy means a long time. Indian agriculture did not start in 1945. Indian agriculture story started during colonial times when the colonial masters decided to destroy the Indian agriculture for profits. Okay, from there onwards, the problem is persisting. Even in 2022, we are under the impacts of that destruction of agriculture. We still didn't recover totally. Okay, Indian agriculture is still using the age-old methods, unproductive tools, and all these things. We do things in a traditional way, or we don't do. Okay, so legacy issues cannot be solved overnight. It will take huge amount of persuasion, and a lot of political issues, caste issues. You can throw everything, and it gets more and more complicated. Okay, what about this article? This article is easy to understand, right? Academia, research, and glass ceiling in India. What is glass ceiling?
Not giving promotions because you are a woman, or not giving equal wages for wages.
What is glass ceiling? Glass ceiling is an artificial barrier. Okay, most of the time glass ceilings are artificial barriers. They are somebody's perceived barrier. Okay, glass ceiling. In my mind, I cannot write good English. That is a glass ceiling that I set for myself. Okay, glass ceilings are inherent limitations. Inherent limitations that we, give to ourselves. Yes. So inherent means either somebody put that idea in your mind, or you don't have confidence, a lack of self-esteem, that we all have glass ceilings. Okay, UPSC cannot be cleared in first attempt. It will take 2-3 years. Okay, you have to read for 18 hours a day. All these are also indirectly glass ceilings. Now, being a woman, you are not good for science. Okay, that is a glass ceiling that we are talking here. Okay, STEM sciences. What are STEM? Science, technology, engineering, maths. Okay, that is called as STEM, STEM. In India, this article also brings out, this was an earlier known fact also, around 49% of women are there in STEM education. That means girl child is going to, or women are going for STEM education, but they are not coming to research part. Okay, so you are only allowed to get educated up to certain level. After that, your job is to get married. Okay, that is what society is indirectly saying. There is no infrastructure. Okay, there is no encouragement. Women are not allowed to go into research. Why? If you enter into research, PhD and all those things, you might cross the age of 30, 35. You may not get married. Okay, or this is a men's world. You have to travel, you have to research. Infrastructure is not there. There are so many limitations why women are not encouraged into the fields. So what Mr. Suprakash is trying to drive home the point is, if women are there in the STEM research or STEM-based industries, automatically economy will flourish and glass ceilings will break. So you can link this article to GS paper 3 science and technology and also GS paper 1 society. How society is impacting the growth of India. The best example is STEM research. Okay, and he also brings out facts that many women are not even professors, teachers. So you don't see women in all these places, but women are having a lot of potential. See, everybody know, right? Like from NASA all the way till ISRO, there are a lot of women who are working very nicely in all these fields, and many scientists are. He also mentions in that article, many women won Nobel prizes in science and research, academicians. Okay, they are in every field, but they are not given enough opportunities. But if more opportunities are given, automatically more empowerment will happen, right? So that is the most important thing. And gender parity is a difficult thing. And he nicely contrasts, like in private sector, women are encouraged. Okay, it's okay for women to work in private sector, but when it comes to government research or government institutions, women are not entertained. And he brings in this argument, right? The marketplace do not worship false idols, therefore makes empirical correct judgments. The term empirical, again, as I told you, is very, very important. What is empirical correct judgments? That means I have appointed a woman as a CEO of a company. She is making brilliant profits. Okay, I will keep on promoting her because as she grows, she will take the company with her. Just because some fellow is a man, if I appoint him, he is not making profits. In corporate world, there is no difference between a man and a woman. All they need is make profit. It doesn't matter who. Probably they will even entertain transgenders also. Why? As long as you make profits, I have no problem with who you are, whether you are gay, lesbian, transgender, or whatever. I have nothing to do with your personal life. All I need is profits, and it makes changes very quickly. It punishes you, it rewards you both nicely, right? But in other areas, that is not happening. We still have that stereotypical mindset. Okay, this article can also be used for essay writing, right? He talks about how even Sir C.V. Raman is a victim of his generation. See, please don't judge him from your perspective, the feministic wave, the cancel culture, and all those things. Okay, back then when he was alive, in that generation, okay, patriarchy is a norm. Everybody grew up believing that women are inferior to man. So he said, I'm not going to allow you because you are a woman, right? Yes, and many people even in today's India have a problem to appoint someone as a woman. Yes, just because she's a woman, right? Things are definitely changing. India is definitely progressing. We are not that patriarchal, but still we are patriarchal. So what happens if we promote more women in STEM? More women participation will be there. There is empirical data which suggests that if more women come into the field, GDP will grow by certain percentage of points. Okay, and as Swami Vivekananda says, a bird cannot fly with one wing. If more women are participating in all the areas, okay, probably Indian economy will grow much faster. It will be gender inclusive, right? It will also remove the social evil. See, we cannot fight patriarchy by saying you are patriarchy, right? You have to remove patriarchy by example. If I empower more women are free, more women are employed, they will have more say in their family, right? You will be surprised to read the society area in UPSC syllabus, where you will come to know there are certain parts of the country where even today 9 out of 10 women will find who is her husband only on the date of her wedding. Okay, and most women don't have a say in her bodily autonomy. That means how many children she should have or when she should have is not in her hands. That is in direct correlation with her education. If you are more educated, you will have more say in your family. If you are less educated, if you are not financially empowered, you don't have a say. Yes. So India is soon going to cross China as the world's most populous country. And why is that happening? The invisible force called as mother-in-laws. No? Yes or no? Who decides when to have a baby? Not the husband, not the wife, right? The mother-in-law. I need a grandson. I need a grandson or a granddaughter to play. No? Haven't you heard or seen this scenario? Yes. No, this is what exactly happens in the country, right? So, what I'm trying to tell you is, if she is educated, she can say no. Okay. But still, education alone won't solve the problem. It has to be empowered. She needs to be financially free. And India is a subcontinent, right? If you go from Kerala all the way till Tamil Nadu, then to Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, every state is a case study of its own. No two states are same. Kerala, the most educated, literate state, not educated. The Kerala is most literate state. Okay, and Kerala also have one of the highest dowry deaths in the country. So literacy has nothing to do with education. Literacy and education are two different things. Do you agree? No? Yes. Will you change that when you become IAS officer? Try to. If more women are there in civil services, do you think country will be better? There is an essay topic, 1993, I guess. Men have failed, let women take over. UPSC essay previous topic. There is a topic which says men have failed, let women take over. Do you agree? Why not? Have men failed? Less sensitized approach. Do you think female leaders like Indira Gandhi, Jayalalitha, Mamata Banerjee, who else? Sheila Dikshit, Sushma Swaraj, or the New Zealand Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, or Hillary Clinton, these people have performed well than men?
We have elected them for a long time, so they should be.
What will you write for 100 words? Men have failed, let women take over. Yes.
Should we support that statement? Sir?
That is up to you, right? Did men fail? The win or lose depends on person, not the gender. Basically, his or her capability to do. Very nice. Okay.
I think we should progress enough that we don't speak about men, women separately anymore. Like we all speak like human beings.
Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, humanity as a whole.
Like you are, like men are doing better, women are not doing better. We should at least develop this much that we shouldn't be speaking like these are separate entities. We all are working towards common goal.
Okay. So one more statistics, right? How do we say that Indian women are empowered? Like parliamentarians are a very good sign. Yes. So what percentage of Indian parliamentarians are women? Any idea? Yes. How many women are there in Parliament of India? Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. President herself is a female, right now. Apart from her, percentage wise, guess if there are 100 parliamentarians, how many percentage or what percentage are women? Nirmala Sitharaman, Smriti Irani,
30%.
14, 13, 30, 13. 33%. That is a demand. So definitely it's less than 33, right? Okay. So after 75 years of independence, this parliament has the highest number of women. Okay, we have around 14% of women as parliamentarians, highest ever. Okay, and Rwanda, a small African country, has 62%. Okay, so Rwanda is a shining example of women empowerment. So more women in politics means more gender sensitized. Again, as I said, as Pradeep said, it doesn't matter whether you are a woman or a man, as long as you are sensitized, you will do the good things. But women will definitely bring a new perspective, right? There was a female scientist a few years ago. She wrote an article in Hindu. She said, when she first was appointed as a scientist in that particular department, in the entire building, 4 floors, there was not a women toilet. Nobody even thought that, there is a requirement for a separate toilet. Okay, that shows lack of infrastructure, right? So not only that, here also you can see Tunisia has more women researchers, right? So you cannot stereotype a country by looking at its name. It's an African country or something. Their change can come from any place. Okay. So what should Indians do? Indians should work to create more infrastructure, and Department of Science and Technology is running nice schemes. These are your prelims questions. Gati, Kiran. Okay. Which department? What are they related to? So on and so forth. Okay. Yesterday we have discussed this, right? A revert to the mean. So this is about crimes that are happening against women in the country. Yes. Read the article? Yes. What does it say? You haven't read? No. Okay. So there is nothing new that we can discuss, right? Yesterday we have discussed. You COVID, what you see? Only the family members or known people are doing more crimes against the women. So this is an unfortunate thing. Cruelty of husband or his relatives constitute 32% of the crimes. Okay, and domestic violence is a serious issue. Now, if you are a district collector, what will you do about domestic violence? Don't say I will arrest them, throw them in the jail. That is your duty. Apart from that,
Start from educating children. They will report to. They will make. See, like parents, I mean, women, they think that it is not normal to get beaten by her husband because he is the sole earning source. Sometimes.
There was a survey recently. 88% of, or around 85% of Telangana women believe that it's okay to be beaten by husband.
Start educate children so that at least they explain their.
Yeah, then you will go to that particular home.
No, not me directly.
I mean, of course, you will send the police officers or whatever, right? Okay.
It
Then the
doesn't-
wife will say, no, it's not a big issue. There is no complaint. Ultimately, she is the victim, right? She is the one who has to complain.
Yes.
Then if she says, no, it's fine. It was only one time thing. He changed. He's a wonderful husband.
It starts from education itself. They don't know that it's wrong. They should know. They should start.
You are not understanding the root cause. You are thinking from your perspective, right? You are an empowered, educated woman. You believe that I can stand on my own 2 feet. Okay. But for her, from her point of view, she doesn't have a source. The moment she complains against her husband, okay, she's kicked out from her in-laws. She is not accepted in her parents' house. Okay. So she's in no place. She's in a nowhere country. It's like a no man's land. And in India, being in a no man's land is an invitation for all kind of evils. Okay, so then you are making her life worse rather than solving the problem. You are not giving her a solution.
More employment for women.
More employment for women. The husband does not want it to happen. That is why you are fighting. Then, yes, again, say by the husband, right? He will say, no, you should not go out. You should not work. You should not talk to someone.
Both education and employment together.
Both education and employment together.
Skill development schemes.
Skill development schemes. Freebies.
Not freebies.
How skill development will stop domestic abuse?
Sir, in a rural area, really the skill household women. It's very easy to empower them or make them independent.
So most of the domestic violence is made because of dowry.
Most of them, that is a definite issue. Dowry
If
is
we
a,
eliminate the dowry, we can reduce some part of it.
if we can address the dowry, how we address the dowry? We have a Dowry Prohibition Act. Giving dowry is a crime.
Strict implementation.
Strict implementation. I am giving money for my daughter's happiness. He didn't ask.
He will abuse for that reason.
Mental torture. There is something called a psychological torture, right? There is not a single bruise on the bride. Okay, but every day she goes through a lot of trauma. Mother-in-law will poke, father-in-law will poke, husband will poke. They will say a lot of things. She will cry all the day, but there is no visible abuse, verbal violence, right? Then how will you prove that? Again, don't agree with me. Think. If you say right point, yes, dowry is definitely a problem. That is why women are burnt alive, right? Dowry is a huge problem in the country. Yes, dowry is a moral corruption, moral crime. Yes, many parents in India save money for their daughters' marriage than education, and that is because of dowry. Many fathers prefer to kill their daughter at the young age. Feticide, infanticide happens only because of dowry. They are afraid that daughter is a burden. Yes, loss of finance also, and or I will be forced to take a loan. That farmer suicides happen because they take loans for daughter's marriage. They will go to the bank, mortgage the land just to get their daughters married. Okay, so dowry is a huge social evil. So why are we not raising voice against dowry? And dowry is also in a different format, right? let's say, there are some communities which believe we are dowry proof. We don't take dowry in our community. In your community, you take a lot of dowry, etc. But in this community, they expect a lavish wedding. 15 lakh rupees minimum have to spend on a car. That is minimum expectation. That is also dowry, right? No. How will you solve that then? So there are no saints and sinners in this story. 15 lakh rupees for wedding. You invite 1,000 people where the bride and groom won't even have time to lift their head. Yes or no? They won't even know who came, who went. Yes. And huge 800 rupees plate. No. We don't take dowry in our community. Yes. No. Stupidity have its own
Thinking
things.
about something else.
I was criticizing some people, right? Yes.
I was thinking that I could ask some mentor to build a strong curriculum so that what has happened
You
is
are
sort of-
fixated with the education, but yes, education is a solution, but education takes long amount of time, right?
Involvement of CSOs and NGOs
NGOs.
and cottage industries,
Mhm.
self-help groups and finance.
So again, you are all coming back to the same point, right? Empower the women through skill development, bring NGOs, educate the children so that they won't become dowry seeking evil citizens of the next generation. That's the only solution. Nothing else can be done.
So first, this is a preventive measure that next generation also doesn't become like their parents are. And for these people, we can take some self-help groups, or we can create a community where they can share their issues and talk about that. We can give them a platform that what's happening, and we can have conversations about it. We can educate even women regarding that.
Okay. So can we throw in alcohol as a reason for domestic abuse?
We can, but
There
we
is
can't
a
go against
group called
government.
Gulab Gang, which is very famous
Hmm.
for community boycott
Hmm.
of a person who has
Wife.
and,
Rajasthan.
no, sir, it's I don't remember the place, but these people, like these only women, so they go to the places and they tell the people around the neighbors and all to boycott that person and the family who have supported the.
So social persuasion. You should treat a domestic abuser as a outcast. That should be the solution. Social persuasion. But in cities, is it possible? In village, you have a lot of social connections, right? Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows who is doing what. So if I boycott someone, every villager will automatically know. In city, all I have to do is change the apartment, change the colony. Then the moment I move to a new colony, nobody is bothered about anybody, right? And as a community, see again, you have to analyze it from multiple perspectives. Do you have a phone number? Do you know the phone number of domestic violence? If you heard about domestic violence happening in your next house or something, or your relative, do you have a phone number where you can call them and say, no, this is a issue? Child helplines are there. Do we know that number? We have to Google it, right? So all of us have seen a lot of Hollywood movies. We know 911. Yes or no? Are you confident enough to call 100 and say, my neighbor is abusing his wife? You haven't even tried. Why? That kind of awareness is not there in the society. We don't know whether we can call or not also. Normally, it is considered as a private affair between wife and husband. It's a societal perception. So who has to change that? State, right? It is a state which has to empower its own citizens that this is a social evil. If you hear about a dowry case or somebody giving dowry, you just complain. We will take care of the rest. The trust is not there between the state and the citizen. So it has to come from multiple levels. Okay. So the social outcast may or may not happen, but everybody at least can try to change the world at one step at a time. If the child marriage is happening, nobody complains to the child care, and sometimes there is no action. So the system has to be stringent. As we said, laws have to be implemented in a better way. Okay. See, I have been reading this kind of articles from 2010. This is 2022. 12 years have passed. Okay. I will still see the same thing, same data. Nothing has changed. Okay. I'm not being a cynical person here. There are some steps. there is definitely some change that has happened at the grassroots level, but at the macro level, Indian society is still the same. It's a private affair. Wife has to face the abuse. She has to live at the footsteps of her husband. Yes, Telugu idiom, right? Patiya Pratyaksha Daivam. No? Then these things. And if not, today, in the modern day tendency, divorce. There is no in between. I mean, again, I'm not saying her to live with her abuser. Probably there is some fault with her also, right? So some, not every case, not generalizing. But we don't know why. There is no in between. There is no counseling. I don't know couples who have actually tried counseling for abuse or dowry cases or all things. Do we know even a counselor? No. Is there a counseling session? No. Probably the police will mediate as a counselors. They will. It's a burden. It's not their burden, right? So it's a societal failure. Societal failures lead to social evils. We don't have Raja Ram Mohan Rai. Even if he is there, he will be called as an anti-national or a fake news. No? So the summary is society have failed. Indian society have failed Indians. Critically analyze. No? Now coming to suicides. Why do suicides happen?
Mental turmoil due to economic burden and mental stress.
Economic turmoil. Again, if you are a district collector, what are the creative steps that you will take to prevent suicides in your district?
So it's there in education sector or in
Any case, right? How do you prevent suicides?
mental health awareness camps.
Mental health awareness camps. Okay. So what will they do?
First, we will involve on grassroots and we will make sure they trust us.
Mm-hmm.
They should listen to us and they should trust that this will work. And other than that, for economic turmoils and all, we can create some subsidies or loans.
See, why? First of all, tell me, why do people commit suicide?
Because they can't bear their circumstances.
They cannot bear their circumstances. Okay. Is suicide an immediate decision? A rash decision?
Sometimes.
Sometimes suicide
in
is a
some
rash
cases
decision.
it is a sudden
Sure.
sudden outcome. In some cases it is like a long bearing of torture from long time.
So most suicides are not immediate outcome, right? Most suicides are brewed at a huge amount of time. Most people go into depression, negativity, negative spiral, lack of support system. They contemplate suicide multiple times actually before committing the suicide. So suicide most of the times is something that we should have seen as a society from miles away. If somebody is getting isolated, not talking to everyone, developing mental health issues, so on and so forth, that person needs help. Okay. Normally, what do we say? We don't even know who are depressed. Okay. So we don't have mental health issues. Majority of Indians have mental health issues, but we never go to a therapist. We don't go to therapy. We don't have counseling, right? So again, if students are committing or daily wage earners are committing suicides, that is again a failure of social security systems. He doesn't have food to eat 3 times a day, and there is a social stigma attached. Again, what I'm trying to tell you is, don't look at the paper only to see what the paper wants you to see. It's not an economic crime, right? It is a multiple perspective. Why do farmers commit suicide? Farmers do not commit suicide because of the money they cannot repay. They commit suicide because of the prestige that is involved. He was a good farmer. He lived for so long. Now he's in debt. He doesn't want that name to be attached. It's not like bank wala came and took his land away. He doesn't care about the land. What he cares about is the social stigma that is attached to him after the bank has taken away the land. Yes or no? So that has to be counseled. As a village, as a panchayat, you have to come together and support each other. Right? See, the best example is the Marwari community, right? Marwari community. If you go and talk to the Marwari communities, I don't know, right? Most of them know at least one family who failed utterly. Most Marwari people failed in their lifetime at least once, majority, or they have seen financial losses, and as a community they will say it's okay. Loss nahi hai to business nahi hai. Like at least, I mean, one time you will fail, you will learn from it. It's okay. You take the loan, you take the loan at the cheapest price possible. you bounce back, pay me my money. That community has that social trust. It helps each other. Okay, that is not seen in any other community in India. In any other community, if you fail, you are a failure. In Marwari community, if you failed, you are a risk taker. You took the risk. The rewards and failures are both high. If you succeeded, you succeed like anything. If you failed, you failed like anything. It's okay. Most communities don't encourage you to take risk. UPSC is not for certain communities. We have to go for software engineers, bank exams, and all those things, right? Okay, you have to play safe. No, never heard this argument. Okay, fine, right? So, what I'm trying to tell you is risk or failure is not tolerated by other societies. Majority societies, they consider you as a failure. If a farmer failed, that means he failed. It's okay, right? If there is a good monsoon next year, if you have the land, we will bounce back. But there is not that community support. Okay, as a state, that stigma is there. That is why they commit the suicides. Paru Hachalo. These are called as Paru Hachalo. That means honor deaths. Okay. So I hope you understand. You have to look at from a holistic perspective. If you have to solve a problem, don't look only from money. You have to solve the other areas. Students commit suicide. Why? Again, it's the stigma. It's the torture. There is a heartbreaking letter by a NEET exam preparing girl. She died in Kota. She wrote a letter to her mother while she was committing suicide. And in that letter, she have mentioned that, you don't have to remind me how many times that you quit your job to support me. The mother resigned her job to support the education of their children. And every day she used to remind their children like, this is on you, this is on you. Because of you, I'm not doing the job. That mental harassment for years accumulated into the death of that child. So bad parenting also leads to suicide. We assume, why do people commit suicide or students commit suicide? Why is he weak? He's weak internally. Externally, he was like everybody of us. But we don't know what he's going through on a daily basis. So that is where he needed help, counseling, some support system, some mentor. But we don't provide all those things, right? Yes, even in UPSC also, it's a very, very serious issue. Mental health is a serious problem in UPSC circles. Most people break down prelims, main, interview stages, and all those things. If you don't have a mentor, it's very difficult to bounce back. That leads to suicides, etc., etc. So think from holistic levels. And have you started writing letters to the editor? No. I suggested you to start writing letters to the editor, right? That helps. You write, they will decide whether it's worth it or not. Working on it. Good. Progress, not perfection. Yes. So this article. Smita Sabarwal. She's an IAS from Telangana. She recently tweeted something saying that Bilkis Bano case, where the convicts, rape convicts were released. Okay. And she is an IAS officer. She have tweeted in her personal capacity saying that this is a wrong thing. What did she tweet? Oh, sorry. Where is it? So this is what she tweeted. She tweeted saying, as a woman and a civil servant, I sit in disbelief on reading the news in Bilkis Bano case. It's a very, very important article for your GS paper 4 point of view and GS paper 2 point of view. So GS paper 2, because of governance, civil servant is bounded by rules and regulations. Whereas ethics paper is because code of conduct. Code of conduct means what? Conduct is how you behave. Code of conduct means it will tell you how to behave. So a civil servant is not supposed to behave in a different fashion. He is supposed to behave in a particular fashion. Why? A civil servant is always in duty. A district collector is an idol for the next generation. If a district collector wears a dress in a certain way, he will inspire the entire generation. If a district collector is smoking, or at least seen smoking in public, that will send a very, very wrong message to the society. So you are not in duty from 9 to 5, you are duty 24/7. Everything you do, the way you dress, where you send your daughter to the school, everything matters. Avinash Sharan in Bihar, is sending his daughter to a government school. That will inspire others to send or have more trust in government school. Okay, so if you are sending your wife to delivery in a government hospital, that shows trust in the government systems. Okay, like this, everything you do as a civil servant will have impact. Okay, so if you are an IAS officer and you are an idol for a lot of girl child or women in the country, if you are tweeting something, that will have a very strong impact. Okay, should you tweet? Do you have that freedom of speech and expression? Code of conduct says you cannot criticize the governments. You cannot say anything wrong against the government. Did she say anything wrong about the government? Here you can see this particular paragraph, right? As a woman, she is outraged because right? Now, for those who don't know who is Bilkis Bano, she's a victim of Gujarat riots case. Okay, rape has been used as a weapon to terrorize communities throughout the history of the world, from ancient civilizations to the modern day warfare. Rape is a form of warfare. Okay, rape is a threat against the community. That if you come to war with us, okay, the honor of your woman will be gone, and don't mess with us. That is a message that people like to send to other communities. So in 2002 Gujarat riots, Bilkis Bano was 21-year-old. She was raped, and she was 5-year-old. Sorry, she was 5 months pregnant when she was raped. Okay, and the sad thing is, she knew all the people who raped her. They used to come to her house for taking milk. Everybody knew everybody from that small village, and she was raped. And the victims were not. She was a victim, right? And the perpetrators were not immediately arrested. She had to go through a long legal battle. Okay, then finally they were convicted. Now, instead of serving the full term, they were given permission to release or go free by the Gujarat government under the provision of remission. That means, you have behaved well, so you are eligible to rehabilitate into the society. So now that is a constitutionally and morally a wrong thing. Okay, because we are a country who are saying that rape is a crime punishable by death. You cannot escape, and that too in a communal riot, and she has been raped in a very brutal fashion. I think the entire family was there. So it is a very, very sad thing, right? Now the irony is the rapists were celebrated once they were released. Now, two things. In Gujarat, there is a social acceptance which believes that somebody has to be thrown into the jail to release the pressure on Gujarat government, and these people were made into scapegoats. Okay, that is a social perception in Gujarat. Far from facts, but that is a social perception. Social perception means I have to throw someone in the jail. See, we all know this, right? Whenever there is a communal riot, there is a lot of pressure on the Gujarat chief minister. He has to throw somebody in the jail so that pressure will go away. So that is a social compromise probably that these people and the government had, is a social accepted theory in Gujarat. Okay, it is proved beyond doubt that they are the rapists. Okay, a crime has been committed, and there is no excuse for that. It doesn't matter what Gujarat society thinks. Okay, and there are multiple other reasons like Gujarat elections and all those things. So these convicts were released and they were celebrated. And there is a huge IT cell working for a particular political party which is trying to communalize this entire incident, saying this is between Hindus and Muslims. If a rape has been committed by a Muslim, he is in the jail. But if it has happened by a Hindu, people have a problem that he is released. Okay, the idiotic logic that people forget is it is about the rape, right? It is not about the community. It doesn't matter who has committed the crime, they should be in the jail. Okay, X is a citizen of Indian society. X comes under Indian constitution. So if X have done some crime, X should be in jail. As simple as that. It doesn't have anything to do with religion or communities. Forgetting that these things have been communalized, politicized. And thanks to today's world where people don't have any in-depth knowledge whatsoever, thanks to WhatsApp universities, they will form opinions based on 1 second data. How long will you read a WhatsApp message? less than a minute, right? But you form an opinion for a lifetime reading a less than 1 minute message. It will take you 30 seconds to read a WhatsApp message, but the opinion that you formed is for a lifetime, right? Hate cannot blind people out of rationality. Hate should not blind people out of rationality. Crime is crime. Now, having said that, there is no excuse for this particular case, but again, somehow we as a society said it's okay. We forgot that it has moved from main page to 10th page already. So people have even forgotten that there is something called as Bilkis Bano case. Why? Power of media, right? If media wants to keep that issue alive, it will keep it alive. If you want to bury it, you will be distracted. Our bigger issues like, will Brahmastra be hit or flop? Yes or no? Should we boycott Brahmastra? Yes or no? No? You also belong to boycott gang? No? Okay. So what is it called as? Cancel culture. Have you ever heard about something called as cancel culture? No? So you have to learn all these things. There is a very powerful movement happening in the country called as cancel culture. Cancel culture means if I don't like something, I will cancel them. Cancel means nullify them. Right now, all the Bollywood stars are being cancelled because of nepotism. Okay. Now coming back, as this article summarizes, there are two ways to look at this. One is the colonial rules that have been set on the bureaucrats. That bureaucrats are supposed to be subservient to the masters, not to the constitution, is still prevailing. That means bureaucrats should not criticize the government. But courts are believing that bureaucrats can say something publicly as long as it is decent. Okay. Now, who will decide what is decent? That is where the problem comes. It's better not to let the genie out of the bottle. Once the genie is out of the bottle, he will never go back into the bottle, right? Okay. Once you give freedom to the bureaucrats to say whatever they want to say, okay, you cannot stop or you cannot put a lid on that. So the first thing to do is don't let them speak. The moment they start speaking, anything can happen. For example, I am an IAS officer. Okay, I belong to a particular religion. Then maybe I will start tweeting everything against your religion in a very smart way. I am trying to communalize you, but at the same time, I sound very rational. How will you know the difference? Not everybody is preparing for UPSC, right? Most people cannot differentiate between communalism and hate, or rationality and hate. Everything sounds so rational, but there is a hidden hate behind that. So people are not so smart. Yes, that is what we call as influencer. And the moment you see the name IAS beside that particular name, okay, people will lose their mind, right? Yes or no? Students are also like that. When an IAS officer comes into YouTube and says, you have to wake up at 5 a.m., they will wake up at 5 a.m. Okay. All you need is the name IAS beside your name. You will have a lot of bully pulpit. That means you will have a lot of influence. Okay. So now, can I misuse this freedom? I want to be a MLA in 10 years down the line. So for the first 10 years of my career, what I did is I promoted my image. Honest officer, Twitter, active. Okay, I promoted my brand. Brand Kalyan has been built for 10 years. On 11th year, one fine day I will come and resign and I will join politics. So the government of India pay for my politics all these years. Yes or no? That can also be one way to look at the things, right? So that means there are multiple ways to look at this issue. We should not look only from Smita Sabharwal point of view, right? If Smita Sabharwal have a genuine interest on the society, that is one way. There are other vested IAS officers who wants to promote themselves, right? They don't care about India. They don't care about anything. They care only about money and power. I want to become MLA. I want to become MP. Yes, what will I do? I will join a political party after some time. Till then, I promote my own self. Okay, that is the negative side of promoting civil servants. Yes, and the best way is for them to write newspaper editorials or something. If they have some issue with the state or something, they can take the permission of the government and they can air their views. Okay, that is one side of the coin. At the same time, it's a Pandora's box, right? That means if you give them freedom, there are downsides. If you don't give them freedom, we will never hear the truth. Okay. or they have to wait till retirement, and after retirement they can write books? No?
Nobody reads.
Oh, people will read, but by then it's too late, right?
Yeah.
So the summary is, only when the society is woke, all these problems will go away. What is woke society?
Enlightened.
Enlightened society, educated society, society with smart people. If I can know the difference between a good tweet and a bad tweet, then I will be smart enough to understand the difference. Or else, as long as an IAS officer tweets, I will believe that it is true. No? All you have to do is go to Twitter and follow certain channels. You will understand the amount of hate that is peddled by these channels. From morning to evening, their only job is keep throwing hate at the society. Why? Some people just like to see the world burn. There is no logic, there is no reason. Hate is something that keeps entertaining the people, right? So, what did you understand by today's newspaper discussion?
There are multiple perspectives behind every single statement.
You are a product of a society and you don't know that society well. Okay, the more you understand Indian society, the better your UPSC education will be, because you are going to again work where? In that society. You need to understand society to work for that society, and you need to understand the nuances to appreciate the society. Indian society has positives and negatives. Every side, everything have a good side and a bad side. There is no such thing as black and white. It is always gray. What or who differentiates that gray for you? Your own education. Yes or no? Your own family upbringing. That is called as socialization. You might be a die-hard fan of Congress or BJP or TRS. You can be product of a lot of things. You don't know society. You are protected. Yes, all those things have to be observed. Okay, you cannot unlearn something, right? That's not that easy. You have to observe society for what it is. Then you have to come to educated conclusions. No, it takes time. Unfortunately, spoon feeding does not work here. Even if I spoon feed you, you cannot think on your own. The questions that will come on September 16th and 17th, 14 days from now, will give you a reality check. What papers will come on 15th and 16th? UPSC mains papers. Essay, GS paper 1, GS paper 2, 3, 4. 2022 mains, official mains is going to happen on September, right? So when you see those papers, you will understand why you have to read newspapers. Because you will see half of these topics in the mains. Don't worry, I will get those papers, I will put it on the slide and I will tell you I told you so. Then you will appreciate. Right? So read NCRTs. There are some good NCRTs for society. Indian polity NCRTs and society NCRTs can be completed like novels. Whenever you find free time, read them. Polity NCRTs, 9th, 11th, 12th, and Indian society NCRTs. Right. Any questions? Don't worry.
No matter how many implementation schemes are given by government or any other civil service, there is always gap between reality and what they expect, right? How to bridge that gap? Like how do we involve more in grassroots level, and how do we work on it?
Again, it's a 360-degree perspective, right? The society has to change. Society, women empowerment, accountability, transparency mechanism, privacy, your ability to work with the lower cadre officers, lack of political interference. So many things. Imagine yourself in a boat. Okay, like this is an ocean or this is a lake. Okay, you're starting there, you're supposed to reach there. Okay, This is a huge lake, right? If this cup is the ship, okay, you can fit so many ships there, right? From there to there, every cup has to move. All of our goal is a better India. Okay, but in reality, what is happening is only few cups are moving forward, or few cups are rowing in one direction. Every other cup is rowing in its own direction. Somebody wants to be better in their position. Somebody wants personal life. Somebody wants vested interest. So some people are rowing reversely. So not everybody is collectively rowing in one direction. So you have to make all the people row in one direction. That is when the progress will happen, right? Okay. So that is the problem. Not everybody has the same objective as you. There are officers who are comfortable in Hyderabad than in any other district. They want posting only in Hyderabad. He is efficient. He is inefficient and he is corrupt. He will use all his influence to stay in Hyderabad rather than allow some honest fellow to work in that position. Let the department die. Let the progress die. I don't care. What I need is my comfort. Then how will you make progress? Got it? Not everybody is rowing in the same direction. First, you have to make people come in one direction. So that is why Gandhiji's greatness will not be diminished by anytime soon. He made the entire illiterate India row in one direction. That is the greatness. Probably they are illiterates, so but they were wise people. They at least had a common goal, common enemy. Now we have so many imagined and real enemies. Again, as I said, when you start writing answers, mains, you will know this. February will be the test of the cake. September, October, November, December. I can wait for 5 months. So if you don't have any questions, I will end the session here. So again, in the beginning days, the intent is very difficult to understand. So most of the times, as long as it is empirical. For example, here if you see, right, this particular judgment, based on the judgment, Supreme Court is saying this, the orange highlights. Okay, so take only those empirical data. Empirical data means facts or quotes by Supreme Court or somebody said something. Only those opinions matter which are backed by some kind of data. Then there is no misconception, right? Judiciary is actually willing to give freedom to bureaucrats. That is all you take away today. The entire end of the article can be good or bad. Okay, so as of now, for the first few months, focus on empirical data. Then once your understanding of the society improves, you will know the intent. I hope that helps, Pradeep. The rest all is opinion, right? But again, as I said, your brain is the filter, good and bad. You will develop into that position one day. Yeah. Okay, then see you all soon.